You are listening to the Certified Personal Trainer Podcast, a show by personal trainers for personal trainers. It's time to become a better trainer, get more clients, and change more lives. And now, here's your host, the head coach and founder of Fitness Mentors, Eddie Lester.
Hey guys, welcome to Fitness Mentors Certified Personal Trainer Podcast. My name is Eddie Lester, your host, and today we're going to be talking about the 13 best personal training books. Specifically, these are going to be the books that are going to help you most in your career to be successful, to understand the sciences, to really understand everything that there is to know about fitness and health, and also to help your clients the most. So, when we start to think about this, I really wanted to focus today on bringing, we'll say, categories to these types of books, because there's so many people that have, we'll say, limited lists that they just throw 5 books out there. And what we really wanted to do was provide you categories so that you can, if you're looking to focus on a specific area of your personal training business, then that's what the type of book that you could read from all of the following categories. With that in mind, the categories that we have today are going to be the best books from business, sales, and marketing, the flexibility and pain management, so the best books around that, the best books for understanding strength and hypertrophy, the best books for power, Olympic lifting, and then athletic performance, for those of you that are really focused on those athletes as your clients, also nutrition, and then finally, personal development, which, as you guys know, is one of my favorite categories for sure. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. We'll start off with the business, sales, and marketing. And these are going to be my most recommended books for new trainers and then trainers that are looking to gain an edge in all of these different categories. So first category, once again, is business, sales, and marketing. I have 2 books for you that are going to really help, we'll say, set up your business and really allow you to understand all the aspects that go into everything from registering your business to establishing it at the state and local levels and federal levels. We'll say writing a business plan, understanding the marketing, the sales, everything. The first one is going to be Business and Sales, The Guide to Success as a Personal Trainer, written by myself. Of course, I'm going to recommend my own book, but really what it's going to encourage is every step that you need to be successful as a personal trainer. And this is really for personal trainers that might be looking to take their businesses private, might be looking to take their businesses online, and really just understand all the elements that go into a complete business that's always looking to grow. As personal trainers, the way that we can be the most successful on a financial level is to have a solid plan as far as, business opportunities, marketing, advertising, outreach, public relations, everything that, or all of those subjects are really going to allow you to set yourself up for success. And this book is really going to help you with that. So definitely check it out. Once again, all these books, guys, I'm going to throw links in the show notes or the show links below. If you're on YouTube, you can click those right now to purchase. They're going to be right through Amazon. I'll link it right there. So if you guys are interested in the best books from these following categories, you can just purchase those below. All right, so first one, once again, is the Business and Sales, The Guide to Success as a Personal Trainer. Really for that in the gym trainer looking to go private, or even the personal trainer in the gym that wants to build up the largest clientele base, or someone that's looking to really just become a fitness entrepreneur. So important. All right, next, guys, this one's really going to focus on sales. And this particular book is just something great to revisit. Time and time again, when you feel like the sales process gets a little dry and sticky and you just don't feel very confident in yourself. This book is actually going to be called The Little Red Book of Selling by Jeffrey Gitmers. And he is basically going to have the 12.5 principles of sales greatness. And, I really enjoy this because it's something that you could just pick up, read about 10 pages, and get a new idea of just how to understand the sales process. And when we think about the sales process as a personal trainer, it's really about, connecting with your client, making yourself likable, and really just transitioning the person from something that they might not need to something that they would highly consider. And these 12.5 principles, the first 7 especially, are really, really cool for just helping you get a good idea of increasing your sales savviness and just leading to higher closing conversion rates, which is awesome as a personal trainer. So once again, this isn't about marketing. This isn't about how to get the leads. This is about you're in the sales room. What are you doing to be successful? Love this quick, easy book. I'll link to it below. All right. So that's it for the business, sales, and marketing section. Next, we're going to move into the flexibility and pain management. All right, guys. So there's so many certifications out there. We have a pain management certification, pain management specialist certification. Highly recommend that course if you're looking for someone to walk you through an actual course around pain management. But the book that I'm going to recommend today is going to be called Becoming a Supple Leopard. This is written by Kelly Starrett, featuring or with Glenn Cordoza. But this book right here has saved me personally from, so much pain you wouldn't even believe. I had a deadlifting injury about 5 years ago now, and have always have recurring back pain. But what I did for pretty much any injury, a nagging elbow injury I've had, shoulder injuries, knee injuries, tore my ACL, what really this book sets you up for is pretty much every single almost possible way to alleviate pain around specific joints. And he goes into every single joint, talks about all the different methods for, we'll say, relieving tension in the muscle, lengthening that muscle, mobilizing the joint in more than just stretching ways. There's like 5 ways in here that really lead to a better overall joint health. And he goes over every single major joint and really lays it down on this is the exact process you need to go through to alleviate pain at ankle, knee, hip, low back, even sacral, all the way through thoracic spine, cervical spine, shoulders, elbows, wrists, anything that you could possibly imagine, any pain that you're having or your clients are having, you refer to this book, and no joke, it will help alleviate so much pain. Once again, it's Becoming a Supple Leopard. Pretty thick book, lots of great visuals in here that will allow you to understand exactly, what you should do to alleviate certain pain points in certain joints. There's no other book that I'm going to recommend because this one is basically the library and dictionary or the encyclopedia, I should say, for managing pain, reducing pain, increasing flexibility, increasing mobility. Highly recommend. All right, so that's going to be it for the flexibility and pain management. There's a few other flexibility books that are okay out there, but when it comes to it, there's so much more to flexibility than just stretching and foam rolling. And he goes into every detail much further beyond almost any book I've read. So next category is going to be strength and hypertrophy. And with strength and hypertrophy, there's really 2 books that I'm going to recommend. The first one is Strength Training Anatomy. And this is more of just an informational book that shows you basically all strength exercises or all the major strength exercises that you can use utilizing tons of different free weights and modifications, things like that. But what the cool thing about Strength Training Anatomy by Frederick Delavier is that he actually illustrates or has someone illustrate these exercises and shows you how the muscles are actually working at different joint angles. So like the best example would be the incline bench press and how it emphasizes the upper pectoral muscle or the upper pec major more than a decline bench press actually activates more of the lower pectoral muscle. But it's all illustrated. Really, really cool. Highly recommend that. Once again, that's Strength Training Anatomy, written by Frederick Delavier. So definitely check that out. Once again, all these links are going to be down below in the show links and notes. All right, next one. This one's really going to be about hypertrophy and strength. Specifically, though, the person that wants to learn everything there is to know about gaining muscle. And this is Get Buffed, and there's 4 books, actually. It's a series of books. It's called Get Buffed by Ian King. He, in my opinion, is one of the most leading edge, we'll say, program creators for understanding athletic performance, gaining muscle, and gaining strength. Once again, that's Get Buffed by Ian King. There's Get Buffed 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these books are extremely simply written so that it's so easy to understand, what do you need to be doing to increase muscle. He also provides 3 1-month programs in each of his books, and then explains why those programs lead to muscle growth. I've done, I think, all the programs in levels or books 1 through 3. I haven't made it to 4, but legitimately, if you're looking to gain muscle, Get Buffed by Ian King is probably, in my opinion, one of the best books to understand and then get a practical application with a program. And you'll be so amazed at how intricate he gets into the programming acute variables and how that actually leads to even more hypertrophy. So for those of you looking to gain muscle, or you work with a ton of clients that want to gain muscle, Get Buffed by Ian King. Check it out in the show notes below. All right, next we're going to get into power, Olympic lifting, and athletic performance. So when we think about athletes, when we think about training athletes and understanding how power and explosiveness lead to typically better outcomes in sports that obviously emphasize those types of training variables. But when we think about that, it's really important to understand that what an athlete program looks like might be different than a hypertrophy or strength program. Strength, obviously, and hypertrophy do overlap into athletic benefits. But when we think about training the athlete, there's a few books that I recommend. First one is going to be the Olympic Lifting, A Complete Guide for Athletes and Coaches. This is written by Greg Everett, and it's basically the encyclopedia of Olympic lifting. Everything that you can possibly think of, similar to the Becoming a Supple Leopard, anything you could possibly think of relating to Olympic lifting and understanding all the mechanics and we'll say things that are great, or things that could easily lead to injury, things that are proper positioning. If you're really focused on training athletes that a lot of power-based athletes need Olympic lifting in their programs, that is a great book. It's actually really thick, goes into detail. It's basically Greg Everett's life's work on how he trains his athletes, and which leads to the best, most winning performance when it comes to strength, power, and athletic performance. The second one is going to be the Essentials of Strength Training and Conditioning. And this is written by Thomas Bockley. But this is actually going to be the NSCA's CSCS, Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist course manual. And this thing is gigantic. But if you're out there looking to train athletes at an elite level, it goes over every single variable to athletic training for multiple sports. And it talks about the programming in season and out of season and recovery training. Really gets in, it's basically the once again, encyclopedia of athletic training for multiple sports. It's not an emphasis on a specific type of training like the Olympic lifting one that I just talked about. But the Essentials of Strength and Conditioning by Thomas Bockley is going to be, we'll say, the most comprehensive organization of information on athletic training that I've seen. I mean, this thing is, I think, 900, or not 900, yeah, like 700-800 pages, and it also gives example programs. It's a bit, we'll say, technically written, meaning it's like almost like a college level course. It's not as much for entertainment as much as it is for information, but really good. If you guys like to geek out on strength and conditioning for athletic training, this is going to be your go-to. All right, and also typically the CSCS is the highest regarded athletic training cert, I should say strength and conditioning cert, that's typically required to train pro athletes, college level athletes at the institutions themselves. So if you want to work at a college, CSCS is probably something that you're going to need to have as a strength and conditioning coach to train the college athletes. All right, next we are going to be getting into nutrition. And I probably have... The way that I like to talk about nutritional information really comes from where have we ended up in nutrition? There's so much, we'll say, advice out there because everyone eats food, so everyone has an opinion on how you should eat. regardless of what diet's the best or what way to eat is the best, I wanted to start by recommending a book that talks about the history of why we've become, we'll say, an obese society. In the sense of over a third of America is considered obese on the BMI scale. And there's about the first 100 pages of Good Calories, Bad Calories by Gary Taubes really gets into the understanding of the politicalness and the history around nutritional recommendations from the government. And I love that sort of stuff because it seems so simple to maybe us as trainers that when you eat healthy whole foods from nature that aren't processed, it's just so easy to eat that way and stay healthy and achieve the goals that we want to achieve. But why has the entire nation become more and more on the obese scale? Why has that happened? This is a great book to understand that, as well as get his recommendations around why there are such things as good calories, meaning good food, and bad calories, meaning food that's probably not the best for you, even though it's labeled as food. And it really gets into just understanding all the macronutrients, their recommendations and why they are that way. Why are we so fat phobic as a society? And now all of a sudden things are moving towards the lower carb. Is that good? Is that bad? Does it matter? It really gets into understanding just why do we need to eat whole food? And it may sound so simple, but if you guys like history, you like to understand why the nation has turned to be more obese, then this is going to be a great book for you. Once again, it's Good Calories, Bad Calories by Gary Taubes. And Fats, Carbs, and the Controversial Science of Diet and Health. Very good. Very long as well, about 600 pages, but it's a fun read if you really want to know the whys behind the last 50 to 60 years of nutritional recommendations. Great here. All right. Next in the nutrition category, we're going to get into a book that I like. It's actually the second book by this author that I've loved, but wanted to give the most recently updated book for him. I'm actually probably going to recommend both of them, but it's called Wired to Eat by Robb Wolf. That's R-O-B-B, Wolf, as in the animal. And it's really about understanding how to, or why you might have cravings, understand how you can eat for weight loss, and really determine foods that work for you. And he actually has a great scientific and analytical process utilizing things like blood sugar and hormone levels to understand why certain foods work for some people and certain foods don't work or those same foods don't work for other people. So it's really just a great analysis on how you can utilize analytics and tracking tools to, we'll say, reanalyze your health and find out what foods give you the best, we'll say, success rates for the goals that you're looking to achieve. So that's Wired to Eat by Robb Wolf. His first book is called The Paleo Solution, talks about whole foods and the evolution of nutrition over tens of thousands of years, millions of years, and really just gets into kind of the understanding of modern systemic diseases, or we'll say diseases of modern civilization, and why they're occurring, and the foods, and similar to Gary Taubes, how has the food system changed and let us down, and the nutritional recommendations, how have they let us down. So that's The Paleo Solution by Robb Wolf. This is Wired to Eat. It's more about the analytical tracking of, we'll say, biomarkers that lead to you choosing the best foods for you to achieve the goals that you want. For instance, tracking your blood sugar to understand why certain foods might make you gain fat and other foods might help you to reduce fat. And that's you individually, which is really cool. All right, moving along to my favorite category. You guys ready for this? You know me, I love to get into the personal development, meaning mental state, spiritual nature of us, purpose, the meaning of what we're doing as personal trainers. And that's so important because when we start to think about what we're doing in our lives, it's so important to always be following our true purpose, our values, and really, elevate the values of what we want most in our lives. And these 3 books are, actually there's 4. These 4 books are ways to learn more about yourself. And they aren't necessarily self-help books, but they're really perspective changers on, why are we the way that we are? Why do we get, ticked off by something and we're totally fine with other things? Why is our life set up in this consistent, we'll say almost repetitive loop if you're feeling stuck? And really how to get out of that stuckness and live the life that you're meant to live. So, first one is going to be called No, a Spiritual Wake-Up Call. This is by Royce Amy Morales. And this one right here, I've actually been a student of Royce Morales for, 16? Coming up on maybe 17 years of actual in-person and phone calls. And it basically almost as like a coach for business and we'll say spiritual well-being, mental acuity, really just understanding life. And so I want to say hi to Royce out there if you're listening. I really, really highly recommend all of her work. This is her most recent book. It's called No, a Spiritual Wake-Up Call. I'll put that in the show notes below. But really what it's about is understanding that if you take control and responsibility for everything in your life, it gives you the power to change your life. And that's so, so, so important. We're always really, kind of bogged down by beliefs and fears, and we aren't really, or some of us really aren't creating the change in our lives that we want. So why is that? And what is blocking us internally and really mentally and spiritually to get beyond a certain aspect of our life and change it for the better? And you guys all probably have your own, we'll say, fears and beliefs about the world, but what of that is blocking you? And how can you bust past that and really change your life to be what you want to create? There's plenty of words out there like the law of attraction and creating your life and things like that. But this is really what is blocking you from creating the life that you want. And I love that because there's when we talk about the sort of high Joe spiritual sort of enlightened person, like the spiritual leaders that really just emphasize, you can create it. This is how you create it. What she's really done is actually reversed engineered that and said, in order to create the life that you want, you have to be okay with the life that you've basically created. And how do you bust past the fears? How do you get past the beliefs that are limiting you in progressing yourself towards the life that you want? So once again, No, a Spiritual Wake-Up Call by Royce Amy Morales. Highly, highly recommend. It will blow your mind, and especially doing the work that she recommends will blow your mind as well. All right, guys. Next one is going to be called Going Right. A beautiful, beautiful follow-up to this next book and or just on its own. Going Right is written by Logan Gelbrick. He is a buddy of mine, a mentor of mine, and you wouldn't believe the way that he communicates how there's no excuse to not be living your dream life. And he may not say it as dream life, but it's really, he describes it as a logical justification for pursuing your dreams. Basically meaning that there's absolutely no way that you shouldn't drop everything you're doing if you're unhappy, because there's only one thing that's going to keep or basically create the life that you want, and it doesn't matter what that is, you just need to go for it. And that's so, so, so important. This was one of my favorite reads because he has a real special way with words that allows you to just understand that every moment you have the opportunity to choose the things that will lead to you living the life that you want. And it's a logical justification. We get out of the spiritual realm, we get out of the mental changeness and that sort of stuff, and we really focus on why it's you just have no excuse to not or to be working that day job that drags you down, or that 9 to 5, or grinding at 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. as a personal trainer. and what you can do to really change your perspective that will allow you to break that down and then live the life that you want. And we as personal trainers, he's actually a gym owner, personal trainer, business coach. He's in the fitness industry big time. But he really emphasizes the fact that as a personal trainer, you can get bogged down. It's a grind. But really, when we think of us as personal trainers, we're doing this for a purpose. We love it. We want to help people. But how can you get beyond the frustrations and really create something that you want to do for the rest of your life? Because the grind, personal training as a grind is not sustainable as a complete 30-year career. So I highly recommend Going Right by Logan Gelbrick, a logical justification for pursuing your dreams. All right, next one is going to be the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Most of you have heard of this. This is probably the most, we'll say, popular and best-selling book on this list. It basically talks about your perspective as a business owner that allows you to understand what you need to do to grow. And so he talks about the 4-Hour Workweek as he's going to focus all of his time on the things that he's best at and can just rock out, in the sense of just complete with the best, we'll say, input. And really what you're not good at, he recommends outsourcing. And in a day where we have the internet, in which we could literally Google someone to help you with any tiny little task, it's so important to understand that you can create the dream life through practicing specific skill sets and understanding the work-life relationship. So the 4-Hour Work Week pretty much speaks for itself. A lot of you probably have read that or are aware of that in some way. All right, guys, and the final one for personal development on this list is called Change Maker. This is by John Berardi. He actually sent me this book to check out. It's brand new. Highly recommend it. It's really all about, he basically says right here, ask yourself, when I die or retire, how will I know I've followed my purpose? So once again, guys, this is a huge element of your life is following your purpose. And he does a great job of really assisting you down the road of knowing what your purpose is, following that purpose, and then ensuring that you can create a sustainable living because of that purpose. And he gives you tons of great examples and really emphasizes, his experience as he went through creating precision nutrition, which he was a primary owner of, which he sold. Now he's really focused on helping personal trainers and all professionals in the business and purpose-driven business end of his of career path in that sense. All right, guys, that is going to be it for the best personal training books. If you want to check out one of these books, once again, the links are below in the show notes. Comment your favorite book. I love to hear other people's favorite books that have changed their life in some way. Also, guys, this is a direct blog on our site too. It's called fitnessmentors.com/personal training books, or just search personal training books on Google, and we typically pop up as the number 1 or number 2. But it's really about changing your perspective, increasing your education, growing in self-love, and really just allowing yourself to always be improving so that you can always be growing, the global self-consciousness of love. So thanks so much for checking us out today. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Follow us on social media at Fitness Mentors on Instagram. And our YouTube channel is youtube.com/fitnessmentors. And subscribe. Love to hear all your thoughts on this. And can't wait to be back with you next week. And we'll see you then. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
As always, thanks for listening to the Certified Personal Trainer Podcast. You can learn more about Fitness Mentors at fitnessmentors.com. Be sure to share this podcast on social media. And remember, we are here to help you succeed.